Discretion is advised.
Two men sentenced for a combined total of 51 years for killing elderly man. Two men from Carnage have been sentenced to a total of 51 years in prison for their roles in murdering an elderly man who attempted to intervene while they were carjacking a taxi driver. Travis Footprint Williams and Leston Bummy Solomon pleaded guilty to felony murder in November last year, but only received their sentences from High Court Judge Althea Alexis Windsor on Tuesday. Under the felony murder rule, the mandatory death penalty for murder is waived in circumstances where death results during the commission of a lesser criminal offense, which in most cases is robbery. Williams and Solomon were charged with murdering Vaughn Cambridge on an unknown date between September 25th and 28th, 2007. According to the evidence presented in the case, on September 25th that year, a man only identified as Sean, who was not arrested by police and charged, contacted Michael Kunkun to hire him to transport him, Williams, and Solomon. When Kunkun, who was hired by Sean before without any issues, arrived at the location in Malabar, Arima, the men handcuffed and blindfolded him before placing him in a house. He claimed that when they returned later that evening and they were taking him out of the house, an elderly neighbor, later identified as Cambridge, raised an alarm and sought to intervene. Sean, Williams, and Solomon reportedly beat Cambridge with a cutlass, a bottle, and a piece of iron for between 20 to 25 minutes before handcuffing him and placing him in the trunk of Kunkun's car. The trio then forced Kunkun to drive to a desolate area of Wallerfield where Sean allegedly removed Cambridge from the trunk and chopped him several times. The men then left the location and went to pick up Sean's girlfriend in Arima before returning to the location that they initially lured Kunkun to. Sean allegedly demanded that Kunkun drop Williams and Solomon at their homes in Carnage, but he refused and suggested that they take the car and drive themselves. Kunkun was then allowed to leave. When Williams and Solomon were arrested, they admitted to their participation, but maintained that Sean killed Cambridge. Solomon admitted that after taking the car from Kunkun, they crashed it on their way to Carnage and abandoned the wreckage. In assessing the appropriate sentence for the duo, Alexis Windsor began with a starting point of 25 years in prison. She noted that both men deserve a 2-year uplift on the starting point based on the aggravating factors inclusive of the fact that Cambridge's pain and suffering was prolonged, and they did nothing to intervene when their friend was delivering the fatal chops. Both men received a 1-year reduction based on their cooperation with the police, but Solomon received an additional 1-year reduction because he had a clean criminal record before the incident, while Williams had 5 convictions for robbery. After applying the 1/3 discount for their earlier guilty pleas, Williams and Solomon were left with sentences of 17 years and 4 months and 16 years and 8 months respectively. However, they were expected to be released in 4 years and 3 years and 3 months respectively, as the time they spent on remand awaiting trial was also deducted from their sentences. Williams was represented by Daniel Khan and Harry Nareen Singh, while Joseph George and Chantal Hines represented Solomon. Giselle Ferguson Heller and Ravita Prasad prosecuted. Two teens among 3 charged with murder. 2 juveniles and a 21-year-old man were arrested and charged with conspiracy to murder, attempted murder, and shooting with intent when they appeared virtually before Sangre Grande magistrate Brahmanan Dubey on Wednesday. The trio was detained for the shooting of Roger Maloney. The victim was said to be taking a bath on February 8, 2021, when a gunman shot him 4 times. Maloney was taken to the hospital where he was treated and subsequently discharged. Inspector Callender and Sergeant Harper of the Sangre Grande police station conducted investigations into the matter. Several persons were held and interviewed, and based on advice from the Director of Public Prosecutions, Roger Gaspard, 21-year-old Jamal Edward of Quash Trace, Sangre Grande, was charged for conspiracy to murder, attempted murder, and shooting with intent to cause grievous bodily harm. The other 2 suspects, both 16 years old, were also charged with the same offenses. They have all been remanded into custody and are expected to appear before the court on March 24, 2021. Man fined after violent episode in Port of Spain. A San Juan man has been ordered to keep the peace and fined $500 after pleading guilty to 2 out of 3 charges following an incident which occurred in downtown Port of Spain on February 19th. An official police statement confirms that the accused, Rodney Ronald Sampson, appeared in a virtual hearing before Magistrate Indar Jagru in the Port of Spain Magistrates Court on Tuesday, 23 February 2021. 48-year-old Sampson of Soso Landhill, Laventil Road, San Juan, will reappear before the court on March 23, 2021. He was charged by WPC Batson of the Port of Spain City Police with possession of a knife with intent to commit an indictable offense, namely to wound, possession of an apparatus, and violent language. He pleaded guilty to the charges of possession of an apparatus and possession of a knife with intent to commit an indictable offense and was charged $500, placed on a $1,000 bond, and was granted $3,000 own bail, respectively. According to the police service statement, the charges arose from an incident which occurred at midday on February 19th, during which Port of Spain City Police officers were alerted to a man armed with a weapon acting violently along Independence Square North. When City Police officers arrived at the scene, they observed a man armed with a knife pointing it menacingly at another man while hurling threats to kill him. City Police officers intervened, relieving the suspect of the weapon. He subsequently was restrained. A further search of the suspect resulted in the police finding and seizing an apparatus specifically designed for using cocaine in the man's front pocket. He was arrested and later charged with the offenses following investigations. Man shot in Sangre Grande, suspect detained. A 33-year-old man is nursing a gunshot wound to his leg following a shooting in Sangre Grande last night. The victim told police that around 10 p.m. he was walking along Jacob Coate Avenue when a white Nissan Tida drove past him. A man exited the vehicle with what appeared to be a firearm. Without warning, the man opened fire on the victim. He then returned to the car and drove off. The victim was taken to the hospital and a report was made to the police. Inspector Jagmohan, Sergeant Khan, PC Guy, PC Lezama, PC Mahadio, and a team of officers responded. At the scene of the shooting, 8 spent shells were recovered along with 1 live round. 1 man was detained for further questioning. Cops make massive drug bust in Sangre Grande. Eastern Division Police made a huge bust yesterday afternoon with the seizure of over 134 kilograms of marijuana, 10 kilograms of cocaine, and over 190 rounds of assorted ammunition. The find was made at a house along North Oropuchi Road, Sangre Grande, during an operation coordinated by Senior Superintendent Khan and supervised by Inspector Callender, Sergeant Harper, Corporal Ramnarine, and personnel of the Special Operations Unit and Sangre Grande CID. After surveilling the house for weeks, a decision was made to conduct a search. At the time of the search, the man and woman occupying the house were not present, but with the items found, arrest warrants are to be issued for their immediate detention. The find included 100 green and black packets, 70 brown packets, 6 blue packets, each containing plant-like material resembling marijuana, which together weighed 134 kilograms, 10 black packets, each containing a white powdered substance resembling cocaine, which together weighed 10 kilograms. 127 rounds of 5.56 ammunition, 62 rounds of 9mm ammunition, 3 12-gauge cartridges, 1 silver and black automatic rifle outfitted with a magazine, and 4 reams of plastic wrappings. The operation also included PC Cielto, PC Singh, PC Samuel, PC Lazama, PC Budaram, and WPC Sinath.